What's cracklin', everybody? Welcome back once again to the definitive cereal tier list. For each episode, take a cereal, put it on the tier list so you know how good it is. I'm your host Tucker. In this episode, for round 3 of Malt O Meal, we are doing Tootie Fruities, their equivalent of Fruit Loops. So unlike the last cereal we did, Marshmallow Mateys, which got a C, just like its original cereal, Lucky Charms, I think this is going to be harder for Tootie Fruities because it's a situation like the Honey Nut Scooters, which got a C, which was based off Honey Nut Cheerios, an A, Fruit Loops, also an A. So I think this might be another situation where it's going to be hard to replicate it, and it's going to seem like negatives because it doesn't live up to the thing it's supposed to be like. But I imagine it'll still be fine. Let's just pop open this bag. Scent-wise, that's actually pretty spot on. Lots of fruity powder on this table now. It's a mess. This is the hardest part. Okay. Alright, so honestly, pretty simple design to replicate. So nailed that. Still loops of fruit. And the color does seem a bit lighter. Maybe not lighter, faded. That might be the right word. But overall, yeah, this is pretty much just a Fruit Loop. Looks, scent-wise at least. Getting close. Okay. That actually tastes a lot like a Fruit Loop. Chewier, I think. Pretty close. I'm a few more bites in now, and I think, much like how the color is a bit faded, some of the taste on a couple of the pieces I've had is also a bit faded. So while it is very similar, the taste, it is not as present, I think, overall. Close though. This might edge out Marshmallow Mateys in how close to replicating it. How well at replicating it, I guess, would be how you should say it. Yeah, you understand. Not a huge color change in the milk, but let's see if we got a huge taste change. Yeah, fruity milk. Yeah, similar to the actual piece taste, which is nice. Yeah, this tastes like the milk that you would hope you'd end up with after having these in the cereal. So, good job there, Tootie Fruities. And I just realized I am having this out of my Fruit Loops bowl, so sorry to Ken Sam about disrespecting you like that. But these are pretty solid knockoff. So step it up, Sam. So overall, I think this was a very close knockoff to Fruit Loops, which knockoff seems mean, but it's pretty much what this is. The end taste is a bit lesser than Fruit Loops was, and again, like I mentioned, it throughout was a bit faded as well. The pieces, though, seem to also sogify much faster, and by the end, some very soggy pieces in that cereal. So, in a lot of ways, really nailed Fruit Loops, but there's just some minor details that I kind of missed. I'm struggling a bit to place this one because there was the thought that this is close enough that maybe it could be a B, but in the B category we already have things like Fruit Loops with marshmallows and wild berry Fruit Loops, and even Trix right now is a B. So I think I would still pick all of those over Tootie Fruities. So that's a knock against it, which makes me think it is more of a C, which I'm not like this trend I'm starting with the Malt O Meal cereals all being C's, but it is just like trying to be Fruit Loops and not quite there. So obviously it's going to be below A. Narrow that part down at least. And it's of the three we've done, one of the ones I like more. I think I'd put Honey Nut Scooters at the bottom so far, then either this one or Marshmallow Mateys at the top. And then the fact that I'm debating which is better between those two makes me think this should probably be the same rating, and it wouldn't make sense for it to automatically just be higher. This is a very on the line cereal. Alright, so after much deliberation, I'm going to end up giving Tootie Fruities a C. As much as I hate the precedent that this is setting right now, I think it's the most fitting spot for it. I still do think it does a great job of replicating that Fruit Loops-ness, replicating Fruit Loops period, but I don't know, I guess it's those couple missing details knock it down a bit, and the fact that it is just trying to be another cereal makes it harder to give it points for its own sort of merit, if that makes sense. So I'm automatically comparing it directly against this other cereal, and it's not like two chocolate cereals where they're each doing their own thing with chocolate. This is trying to do the exact same thing. So I think that just sort of inherently is making me rank this a little lower than if it had tried to be something else, I think, and ended up like this. Maybe in my brain that would make it more acceptable, but as it stands now, I think it's in line with sort of that Marshmallow Mateys. This is a good replicant of the original, but it's just not as special. I don't know, that's just kind of what it comes down to. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe, and in the comments below, post your general thoughts. If you've had an experience with Tootie Fruities and Fruit Loops, let me know how you would compare them. If you think this is a egregious error, not giving this a B, feel free to let me know, and argue why this is equivalent to something like Trix or Marshmallow Fruit Loops, Marshmallow Fruity Pebbles, any of those. I'd be glad to hear that, but I would also be happy to hear people agreeing with me. This is pretty much C tier. Hopefully this is not going to continue and all of the Malt O Meals will get C's, because that'll be a bit boring. It would be impressive for consistency, at least, but I'm hoping I can rank some of the other ones higher in the future. But until next time, stay delicious.